everybody. Welcome back to another episode of But Why They're the Podcast. And today we're getting into Gears of War. As always, I'm your host, Kate. I'm here with Adrian.
Hey, how's it going?
And Matt.
Hello.
And today, Matt is going to take us through the Gears of War franchise.
I am. I'm going to attempt to at this point. I guess for an introduction question, who's going to win the national title game? No. For the introduction question.
For context, Matt doesn't switch his intro question from his NCAA episode, and we were just really confused when we came into the podcast today.
But for the introduction, have you ever played Gears of War? And I guess I kind of want to add on to the tip because it's a kind of a weird timeline of have you played anything recently?
That's a real good question.
I've played Gears 1 through 3, but I didn't really play anything after that, mainly because that's when I start college, and I just don't really play anything that's not League for like a few years, basically. Or like towards the end when I was playing NeverQuest and Ark and stuff with you guys, so I just didn't pick up, like anything other than the first 3. And I haven't even played the 4th one as of yet. But I think it's on Xbox. The
Game Pass?
Yeah, the Game Pass. So I might pick it up after this episode. Depends on how much Matt convinces me.
So I have played all Gears 1, 2, 3, and Judgment. I have not played 4, but I spent a lot of time in the Gears world because I played it co-op. I think one summer I actually came onto the franchise with Gears 3 was my first Gears game. And I just played through it co-op, and then I ended up buying the triple pack and then going back and playing through all of them again with co-op. And it was really great and still like one of the best co-op experiences that I've had in a video game.
Nice. So I was one of the people that bought it like right off the bat, the very first one back a long time ago in 2006. I played all 3 of them, like bought it immediately. My brother and I beat all of them together. We basically were the story together. And then obviously like Adrian, I also was in college, so kind of quit playing and stuff. But I do know and then Judgment came out, which I knew was a spinoff and basically a money grab. And so I just kind of didn't care. Gears of War 4 looked pretty intriguing, but it was another one of those games, it was just the trilogy. We had a 3, it was great, and then obviously things happened and they decided to come on later. But we'll see what happens. So I might try, like Adrian, I've been tempted to play 4, but I'm also very busy.
I want to play 4, but that's going to determine on whether or not you're going to have time to play 4, because I've never played a Gears game by myself, and I don't intend to start now. But I really want to play Gears 5. So.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's also going to be weird, because I literally played this with my brother, all 3 of them, basically within the first week of release.
Well, I'm sorry that I'm only one person, Matt.
So I guess to get into it, to break it down, the franchise began all the way back in 2006. It was actually created by Epic Games, surprisingly. Yes, I believe.
What?
By Epic Games, the people who did Fortnite.
I didn't realize that this was Epic.
Yes.
For those of you who don't know, that's Fortnite.
Yes. And Microsoft
that's all they do now.
Yeah. Well, they now have a marketplace, like Steam. And getting other games. I don't think they actually create them, but they house them, I guess.
Microsoft. When you make as much money as you do in Fortnite, you don't have to create anything else.
Yeah. Microsoft is the publisher, and this is where it kind of gets a little weird because eventually, so Epic created the first I believe it's 3 games, or I think all the way up to Judgment, or no, created the first 3 games, and then hold on, let me see. No, they created all the way up to Judgment. And then Microsoft just completely bought all the franchise from Epic in 2014. And now, basically, the Coalition is the developer, and technically Xbox Game Studios is the publisher, even though it's just technically Microsoft or whatever they call themselves these days. So, yes, Epic actually created it. They did the first one up to Judgment, and then basically sold it. And, yeah. And so now Microsoft have it. I think what's unique about this game is it's kind of like one of the only. Obviously, it was an exclusive by Xbox, and it's always been.
Yeah.
except for eventually Microsoft when they actually get the thing, they bring it to PC. But it's one of the few games that have been exclusive like its entire like run of things.
Yeah. And I also think to a certain extent when it does get brought to PC, like there's just a very fine line between an Xbox and a PC now. So like I don't really count that.
Right. But yeah, this has been one of the few franchises that is like Microsoft's kind of baby, and they've kind of stuck with it. And obviously, there's a reason why we have this. It's being brought back to life now. So I guess kind of synopsis to this. Basically, you follow Marcus Phoenix, and then basically his friends, his little gang, between Dom, his best friend, Baird, Cole, the Carmines, and then etc. You just end up meeting new people along the way.
I just want everybody to know that he wrote Carmines with a capital S at the end.
Because there's multiple Carmines.
I know.
There's a family of Carmines.
I just needed people to know that he emphasized it in the text.
We'll get to the family of Carmines in a little bit. As they fight against a locust horde that has emerged from the depths of Sarah, which is basically their fictional Earth-like planet, set on destroying humanity. And then, so basically this is a nice little like co-op military shooter type game that you play through.
It's really classified as a military shooter?
Everything I saw was.
Is it just because of the tactics in the game?
I believe the tactics, and obviously you do play technically the military.
I know, but it's like sci-fi. Like, I consider Call of Duty and Medal of Honor and Battlefield military shooters. I don't consider...
I don't know if it's other classifications. I saw it classified a lot of places as military, and then I saw other places as weren't.
Is Doom a military shooter?
I mean,
I don't know.
depending
I watched
on
the movie. They were in the military in the movie. So.
I take issue with this distinction. I just want everybody to know.
I don't know. I saw it said multiple places, and then I saw it just called third person, so I don't know. I mean, I guess because
it is a science fiction third person shooter. That is what it is.
Which involves like tactics from military wise, and then they're in the military.
Oh, you duck and cover, and you're loosely based on a fictional military.
I mean,
is Mass Effect a military shooter? Because that's a first-person shooter, and I'm in the military.
Well,
I was gonna say that, and I was like, probably.
I mean, you do play as the coalition of ordered governments.
Gears of War on Wikipedia is a 2006 military science fiction third-person shooter video game.
Yeah,
and all of those things kind of fit.
Yeah, that's what I got.
Like,
you play as a coalition of ordered governments.
Hold on, is Mass Effect? I'm looking this shit up.
Oh my gosh.
No, it bothers me because when I think military shooter, I don't think of that. Yeah, so Mass Effect is an action role-playing third-person shooter video game, but I'm in the Navy.
Yeah, but nobody cares about the Navy.
You're a military action shooter RPG, and you have sex with aliens.
Everybody knows we only play Mass Effect for that last one. It's not a well-hidden secret.
Anyways, whatever you'd like to classify it as, basically you shoot things and you're in third person. And you use tactics and you technically work for the governments or military type things.
No, you don't use tactics, you just run around with a shotgun.
You obviously never played the hardest mode.
I did, and I died a whole bunch because I suck at duck and cover.
And you really want me to play with you on these games?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So anyway, so to kind of get into some of the games and stuff, there are 7 games out. I guess technically 9 when you include what's coming. Obviously, I say that kind of with like some air quotes because the Ultimate Edition is essentially a remake of the PC. With like apparently the PC had exclusive 5 chapters of campaign that was only exclusive to PC, and so when they made the Ultimate Edition, they added those into the remake of the first game. And so, but to kind of go to the game, you have Gears of War 1 from 2006, and I'll kind of go to the ratings of a 94 on Metacritic. Gears of War 2, 2008, a 93 on Metacritic. Gears of War 3, 2011, a 91 on Metacritic. And then, obviously, we talked about the trilogy. And then you get to Gears of War Judgment in 2013, a 79 on Metacritic. Gears of War, technically the Ultimate Edition, which is just a remake, is an 82 on Metacritic. And then Gears of War 4 in 2016 is an 84 on Metacritic. And then you have Gears Pop, which just released on mobile, I think like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and we have a review up on the site for that, and it looks adorable.
Yes, we have a review on the site. We have it at a 7.5 out of 10. There's not many reviews for that.
It looks adorable.
I didn't realize it was mobile because since I watched their conference, I got free skins for the game. I just never bothered to download the game.
Matt!
Just saying.
They're adorable! Download it and give it to me.
Yeah. And then kind of one of those, we have Gears of War 5 2019, which should be released this past week of this episode, depending on whether you have Xbox Live Game Pass or not. This thing. And then also we have Gears of War Tactics, which was announced in E3 of 2018, and they really haven't said anything since other than it's in development.
So
it's
like
a thing that exists.
An Elder Scrolls.
It exists, and it's been announced, and it's in development, but we know nothing other than they kind of showcased it at E3 a year ago.
Like an Elder Scrolls game.
Well, they actually gave you like demos and stuff. They didn't play a
No.
22-second trailer.
Oh, they actually do have demos for it?
Well, they actually showed like gameplay footage and what it is.
Oh, okay. It was more than the
22-second. It was exactly 22 seconds.
That just is like, I think that's the most depressing thing you've said on this podcast.
So those are all the games, which will probably be the core of what we talk about today. But there are actually a lot of other media stuff in here. There's actually a board game that was made in 2011 called Gears of War, the board game. Because apparently that's how they do all things, called blank, the board game. They also had a comic book run by DC Comics from 2008 to 2012. And it was basically from DC's Wildstorm imprint. I don't even know if they exist.
No, it doesn't exist anymore.
Yes, I was like, I don't have no idea if it exists, but that's
that
what it was.
hasn't existed for a while. But it's not on here. There is a current IDW. No, it was IDW or Titan. Titan. Titan Comics produces Gears of War comics currently.
Cool. I don't know comics. I'm just here.
We have a review on the site for it. It's a direct tie-in into the Horde mode for Gears of War 5.
Awesome. Here's the fun thing.
That sounds so unenthused.
Yeah, I'm not enthused. Here's the most interesting thing. Apparently there's a movie that apparently has been in work since 2007. It was officially confirmed in October of 2016 by Universal that they are developing this movie.
This is like Warcraft.
It gets better. July of 2019, it is reported that it's still being developed, so it's still happening. Here's where it gets interesting. I don't know which one to go with first, but apparently Dave Bautista has been asked about this movie and says his dream role would be to play Marcus Phoenix. And then the other weird part that's kind of the offsetting part, apparently they're going to set this in an alternate reality. Because apparently they said they want to have a good movie first and a Gears movie second.
What? What does that even mean?
It means all the stuff that they've built out is basically nobody cares. They're going to use some of the staple parts of the franchise, but they're going to basically do whatever they want.
So like Doom.
Sure.
That Doom movie has like nothing to do with the video game.
Right. And so apparently they said they don't want to, since they have like a Bible of information, they would rather just set it in an alternate reality so they can be more creative. But I'm also like, you have a Bible of information. Why can't you just make a story?
Who is this movie for?
Dave Bautista.
Dave Bautista.
Because like even as much people we talked about in our Resident Evil episode, as not great as those Resident Evil movies are, they found that nice line where they kept canon but inserted someone into it.
Which I think might be kind of what they're trying to say, but I think they kind of went on the way of like, we're just going to save ourselves in general by just saying alternate reality. So I think we're going to get all of the same characters, all the same stuff, but then it's like some of the stuff that happens in the game is going to be reversed or something. I don't know. I honestly don't know. All they said was it's being set in an alternate reality.
I'm not mad at Dave Bautista though.
I'm not either.
Yeah.
I can see that. I can see that. After watching him in Stuber with the face, his way his face looked.
I'd be down.
That'd be good.
Let's do it.
I was excited when I saw this was actually confirmed and developed, and then I read the actual report, and then I was like, I don't know if I want this anymore. So, which kind of gets in the other part of we talk about like this alternate reality in this Bible part of apparently there is a series of 6 novels based on this universe, all written by Karen Travis.
So I did know that.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying like this is where they got all this information that they're apparently going to ignore.
Oh, okay.
Is it like canon information, like, or is it just this person wrote some Gears books?
As far as I know, I believe this is all actual canon information.
Interesting.
So apparently they have Gears of War, Asphospheres, Gears of War, Jacinto's Remnant, Gears of War, Anvil Gate.
No.
What?
Never mind.
Would you like to pronounce
It's
them?
a sound.
Yeah, whatever. Gears of War Coalition's End, Gears of War The Slab, and apparently they have a new one coming, Gears of War Ascension, which was released July 30th of this year, and apparently it takes place after Gears 4 and kind of the prequel to Gears 5, so anybody trying to catch up on the actual lore, you could read that to get caught up to Gears 5.
She does the Republic Commando series that's obviously like not canon anymore. So she likes writing about military stuff. Oh, and she has some Halo novels?
Yes. She apparently writes a lot of video game books.
Yeah.
Nerd. But also this is really cool.
Yeah. But apparently all those books and everything will go out to the window for the movie for the alternate reality.
And so will the 9 games.
Except for Pops. Apparently that doesn't matter. So the 7 games.
I want the movie to get meta and have them have like a little pop somewhere.
Oh, I thought you were like the whole thing is just a big Pops movie and Dave Bautista has an enlarged head.
I would
And he's
actually
shooting
like
stuff.
I want that too. But the first thing is what I meant.
So
we talked about in the Hello Kitty episode, make something with a big head, big eyes, and like no mouth. And it's automatically adorable and it's scientific.
So you can buy actual Funko Pops or whatever Pops you want to call them of Gears of War and all their new characters. They are available if you'd like them.
Kate one. She's so cute.
Yeah, so they do have them.
And her
so
name's
obviously,
Kate. And I'm
That's your
Kate.
name.
yeah, but they spell her name weird.
They do. They spell it Kait.
Yeah, which I guess is better than
Also,
Cait.
I'm still bothered by who they have voicing her.
Who is
I'm
it
not gonna
again?
Talk about this. It's Laura Bailey.
What's wrong with
But-
Laura Bailey?
Kate Diaz is a brown girl.
Yeah.
I think it's all just rugged. We don't know what anybody is in that thing. It's all
Yeah, this is
dark.
alternate.
Diaz.
Is
It's
it?
alternate reality, Kate.
Yes.
Oh.
Her name is Diaz. Her name is Kate Diaz.
We're not on Earth, Kate. That's not
She's
how it
the
works.
daughter of Gabriel Diaz and Reina Diaz.
Yeah, but Reyna was a Locust Queen, so who knows what she
Oh
actually...
my God. Really? Whatever. No, I'm still. She also just looks really cool. Like all of the promotions that they've done, where they show her face turning into the Locust Queen. Like she is really awesome.
Right.
I'm excited. I want to
So,
pop.
so before we get into the but why, does anybody have any questions about any of this stuff?
No.
I don't think so. I think I'm good.
So that's basically all I have. So I guess we'll get into the but why those after this.
Hey everyone, do you like But Why Though? Well, the Podcoin app is a podcast player that pays you to listen to this podcast and every other podcast. Just get the Podcoin app on your iPhone or Android and start listening today. It's free and super easy to use, with every minute you listen getting you that sweet, sweet coins. It turns your podcast listening into charity. Or, if you're like me, you can get some Amazon or Starbucks gift cards. I use the Podcoin app to do all my podcast listening now, and I can personally say that I love it. Seriously, just go to the Podcoin app and use invite code BUTWHYTHOugh. That's BUTWHYTHO, and you'll get 300 Podcoin just for signing up if you use our code. That's 300 Podcoin just for signing up using code BUTWHYTHOugh. So go ahead and give Podcoin a try today.
So to get into these but why those, I guess I'll start with the usual one. Apparently this is like the one that's my staple at this point, I've realized from looking at these notes over the 114 episodes. Successful franchise. It was a franchise that's been around for 15 years and it's still going. They're still making games, as they've just released 1 or 2 within the last month. As of 2016, it has sold over 27 units, and that was like the most recent I could find. Obviously, I don't think they had any games really since then. And so obviously any units there, but this is obviously clearly going to grow between Gears Pops, depending on how they count that, and then Gears 5. So that should grow. Which I feel like is actually pretty impressive considering it is an exclusive game and it's only been around for 13 years or 14 years.
Yeah, and it hasn't really gone through a significant reboot either.
No.
Which is probably, that's what happens to long exclusives more so than anything.
Yeah, it hasn't done the Resident Evil where we just start porting it over and we start counting all those ports of game.
Excuse me, sir, but Resident Evil did that within the first 3 games. Thank you very much.
I'm just saying.
And it was not an exclusive.
It has definitely, as I mentioned earlier, become a staple for Microsoft in their exclusive area and kind of in their games, especially in branding. It's basically up there now with Halo and Forza as their top 3 franchises. When you think of Xbox, it's basically Halo, Gears, and Forza. I'm sure there's some other ones up in there, but those are the big 3.
I love Forza, but I forget that it's a Microsoft.
I love Forza until they kind of ran it into the ground. I'm not gonna lie. They just started releasing almost 2 a year, and I was like, I can't keep up with this.
Some would say that they drove it into the ground.
I don't even know if they did that because then they started doing off-road rally stuff, and you just fly through the backwoods, and I'm like, it was kind of fun, but I'm like,
Speaking of which, Adrian, you should watch Hyperdrive on Netflix.
Yeah, I watched the first episode and I enjoyed it. Oh, this is cool.
I binged it all. It's so good.
Yeah, this is cool.
Now back in Gears of War World. Besides that, Marcus Phoenix has become one of the top video game characters of all time. In the most recent list I saw, he was 19th all time, which is, obviously it's down the list, but still pretty good because obviously when you
2019. Where's the list? Why don't you put the list in your show notes? What's wrong with you, Matt? Was this
bad.
amateur hour?
Marcus Phoenix is also a daddy.
He is a daddy.
Just throwing that out there. In all ways, Matt.
Well,
I wasn't talking about that kind of daddy.
Yeah.
Well, he is because Gears of War 4, you apparently play with his son, and then you meet back up with Marcus, for those of you that did play the game.
Also, somebody please clip Matt saying that Marcus Phoenix is a daddy.
So basically any list you look up, he's on for the most part. Obviously, that was the most recent one I could find. I found earlier ones where he's on there. Master Chief is pretty much number 1 on every single one I've ever found.
John Marston, number 2? All right, I'm all right with this list.
Yeah, actually, he's up there on a lot of lists. It'd be surprising.
Yeah, Red Dead Redemption, amazing.
Well, I guess it's also I guess I find it fascinating because he's only in the one game, versus a lot of these characters have multiple games.
It's true. That story is just really, really good.
So like I said, Marcus Phoenix obviously became basically a very prestigious character in basically video games. Moving on, it's actually critically acclaimed, especially the first 3. Not saying the other ones weren't, I guess, great, but they're really not that great, even ranking-wise. Gears of War, the first one, won multiple Game of Year awards. It won a ton of awards. It was actually the first Xbox game ever to sell out and reach the top 10 charts in Japan, which may not seem like much, except for, Japan hates Xbox overall, so it's kind of a large deal.
I always forget that Japan hates Xbox, and the success of Xbox games is actually it says something when they outsell other games because it's pretty much almost an all-American console driving that.
Yeah, that's why I said that's why it's on here noteworthy of it's the first time ever, and this is including the original Xbox and Xbox 360 games.
Yeah.
So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's amazing, and it's something that I think a lot of people forget, especially with all the frickin' PlayStation fan people.
Yeah, I think they totally forget that Microsoft, as much as it may be behind, it is technically it only sells in America. Everywhere else in the world, it's never around. Considering Sony has oh, of course they sell in Japan, and then they sell in the U.S. and they sell in other countries a lot better than everything else. It was also awarded multiple Guinness World Records Gamers Edition, which I did not know existed until I did these notes, and also another reason why I now hate the Guinness Book of World Records. But as that's been a current theme on this entire podcast for 114 episodes.
And if you don't know why, it's because baby Matt loved the Guinness Book of World Records, and then the records got stupid, and he didn't have all his stats that he wanted.
Correct. But it got in there for basically the 3 of the most notable ones were the fastest selling original Xbox 360 game. Because a lot of this is actually a Microsoft produced one. It was the first console game to use the Unreal 3 engine. So everybody knows Unreal and the engine stuff been around forever, but what they didn't know is it was never on console.
Yeah. That's actually a big thing. Okay.
Yeah. And then
Yeah,
obviously
that's where Epic got its start, right? Like
Yes.
they did like
Yeah.
Unreal
Unreal
PC
Tournament
games.
and
Yeah.
stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then probably the one that pretty much I already knew, but I didn't realize it was a quote unquote Guinness Book or World Records is the first music single to top the charts after being promoted in a video game, which is Mad World by Gary Jules, the version. And it was actually released 3 years before in 2003, and then after it did through the trailer, it actually jumped all the way to number 1 on iTunes and all the charts. And if you've not seen that trailer, it is probably the best trailer I've ever seen in my life.
I'll link it in the show notes. But also Donnie Darko.
Yes. But the trailer with that song is what made that song great. I actually forgot that
Donnie
song was
Darko.
I forgot that song was in Donnie Darko because I was like, oh yeah, this is part of Donnie Darko. But nobody cared until it was in this Gears trailer. And I'm sure there's some great trailers out there, but this is by far one of the best trailers I can remember.
I actually can't remember it.
You are terrible.
Oh, yeah, no, I remember this one. Okay.
I was like, how do you forget this trailer?
Yeah, this one's freaking insane.
I was like, it. Like I said, it literally the song released 3 years before the trailer, and then basically got put on the trailer, and then basically went number 1 in the charts.
Also, look, books are important, right? But it's 2019. Why do I have to buy the book of the Guinness World Records? Like, why don't you just have like a Wikipedia page where I can just go look up world records? Why do I have to like buy a $10 book?
Because
Like
they need to
a
make money
hardback
somehow.
book.
The same reason we have these stupid, ridiculous records.
Maybe that's why they need to make money. Maybe like if
That
they
is
would've
probably
just,
the only reason why we have these
just
stupid,
go
ridiculous
digital.
records.
Go digital. Why do I have to order this off Amazon? Like, why can't I get like a PDF copy of this book somewhere?
Why would you try to order it off Amazon? Were you just trying to hate me?
No, I just wanted to look up because I didn't know this was a
You're
thing. I want
betraying Matt by supporting the Guinness Book of World Records.
I just want to see what kind of crazy things they track in this thing. Like there was like fastest combo in this game, and I was like, "What is the fastest combo?" I don't know because I have to go order a book. I don't want to order a book. Just tell me what it is. Just give me the information.
On this episode of But Why Though, Adrian hates ordering books.
It's just God, like this isn't.
But why?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Moving on to Gears of War
Give
2.
me an audio book of Guinness World Records, but Matt's narrating it.
Oh, God!
That would be great.
That would be so good.
Book it, please. Somebody help. Let this happen.
Moving on to Gears of War 2, it also won multiple awards. It's also highly rated. Then Gears of War 3, it also won multiple awards, and it was highly rated. And they also did which was very unique at Gears of War 3, and it's the only one I can ever remember knowing. I'm sure they might have done it before, but they did the Fate of Carmine voting campaign, which I don't know if you all remember this, but basically players got to decide the character's fate in a game. Basically, Carmine, because basically the Carmine is basically a set of brothers who are all in the war together, and in the first 2 games they all die tragically for kind of comic relief deaths, sadly. And so for the youngest brother, they kind of decided they let the players decide whether he should live or die. Epic actually made 2 different endings to this game of his fate before they put it, and then basically players bought Avatar T-shirts whether live or die, and based on how much sales were sold, they kind of decided what to do in the game. You also could buy one of these T-shirts from like San Diego Comic-Con that year. They promoted him there, and obviously, I believe he lived, if I remember correctly. So that's what they voted for. And all the money that they raised in this thing basically went to Child's Play charity, which they raised over $150,000 for.
That's super cool.
It was a pretty cool
Really
thing.
cool.
Like I said, it was about a 2-month period before the game released, and then I believe it was from like July 29th to like September 6th or something like that. And it was pretty cool. I remember when it happened. It was cool to see. I wanted him to live. I felt bad for all his brothers because they died in such tragic, horrible deaths of like one dude messed up on reloading. And you just felt bad. It was kind of like a cool theme that they had, and it was the way they interacted with all their players and stuff. And they raised money for charity.
Do we ever see Carmine's face? We don't, right?
I don't believe so, to be honest. I know you see the third guy had tattoos of his brothers and how they died on his arms.
That is so sad. There is
Took me-
also so apparently Gears also sold a zombie Carmine gear pack
Oh, that's
to
cool.
wear in game, where you're just each of the Carmines.
No, the Carmine thing was great. I enjoyed it and I loved it. I mean, I felt bad, and you knew he was gonna die, and you just kept saying, "Come on, buddy." And they did like fake outs of when you thought he was gonna die, and he didn't. It was so bad, but it was great. But you cheered that family on because you felt bad from the get go because they're like, "My mom's at home, and our brothers are all fighting the war." Bam, one died. Hey, I'm the other brother. How you doing? My brother died. My mom's still waiting for us.
Yeah, there was no Saving Private Ryan in these games for that family.
But no, it was a cool little thing, that event that they did. I thought it was really cool. And then, like I said, the first time I can ever remember like actual fans like actually dictating the ending or fate of a character, outside of like Mass Effect people who said we're gonna protest your game. Moving on to the next about why though, the gameplay, which is kind of about why though, but kind of not. It's kind of weird. We'll kind of get into it. So Gears of War was a third-person military shooter.
Shooter.
Whatever.
Just shooter.
Whatever. And so, like, the core of their over-the-shoulder concept gameplay actually comes from Resident Evil, which released the year before. And it's actually another highly rated game depending on
Resident
what
Evil
platform.
4.
I know, that's what I said.
You just said Resident Evil.
No, I did not. I said Resident Evil 4, which is another highly rated game depending on which platform you played it on. I say that because apparently the Wii, or the GameCube at the time, and then PlayStation are like 96s, and then like the PC and Xbox are like 80 and like 70.
So when you talk about bad ports and mechanics not transferring for ports, that is a prime example.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
Yeah. So they actually state this was definitely an influence in like what they designed of the way they want to do the over-the-shoulder view that you get from playing this game. They also did the cover system and basically the from cover to cover strategic playstyle that you see. This is also not the first, as I said. It actually has been stated coming from that they had influences from Killswitch, was a game that was released about a few years before then. And they kind of said Bionic Commando, but only because Bionic Commando, you kind of do a grappling system, but they said it's kind of more of like a horizontal, you kind of quote-unquote grapple from cover to cover. I don't really see that one per se, but sure, whatever. They were expensive, but obviously they did this cover system much better, or at least definitely the game, because, well, Bionic Commando, I believe, is a highly rated game, but also came out like the late 80s or something like that, versus Killswitch kind of just came in with.
Yeah, I would say too, because I remember playing Killswitch, but like it was, at least from what I remember, ultimate like the gear system, and it just, the cover system gets better and better each game. It's just really fluid. Like,
Right.
It's not really janky. You're not,
Nope.
like, it doesn't cause you problems. And I know a lot of the cover systems in games before it, even in arcade games, the cover system causes you a lot of problems. And this,
Right.
it just seemed like second nature.
Right. Another thing that I kind of got to put on notes, but it kind of was unique, of the reload system, I believe, was also something that was kind of cool. Where basically you had, when you reload it, you could actually, you had a little mini bar. You had to get the right in the, if you got in the bar, you kind of got like bonus damage for like the first few rounds or something like that, which was also a pretty cool, unique thing. Another part about this gameplay, like we're talking about the third person thing. Basically, it was basically a third person shooter that kind of came out and kind of in the peak era of first person shooters, and it was actually good. So basically, it was a different than your traditional shooter, because basically this was a year after Halo 2, or about 2 years after Halo 2, and about a year or two before Halo 3. So those are obviously coming out. Call of Duty's still around, but then like the year after you get Call of Duty 4, and then you end up taking off, and then obviously you have the other Call of Duties like Modern Warfare 2, and then Black Ops, and then World at War coming out. You still have Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon. You obviously have the older Battlefields, Half-Life, Crisis, and I can just keep going on. And those are all great games, but they're technically all first-person shooters and not third-person shooters.
How many of those are military shooters, Matt?
I mean,
I'm kidding.
a lot of
I'm
them.
Almost all of them. I think the only one that's technically not is Half-Life, probably.
I think you are
I don't
correct.
know, Matt.
But no, like, it's basically a third-person shooter that comes out, so... Hey. Another cool aspect, it was kind of like the co-op gameplay was kind of... It wasn't, like, obviously not revolutionary, but it was kind of unique, because, like, This is obviously before Halo 3. We could play the campaign together. It technically beats Call of Duty World at War by a few days. Army 2 by about a year or so. And I mean, I'm sure there's other ones out there, but I can't think of any that were like decent.
Yeah.
And I guess it's also I don't know if it was like the first time, but definitely the one time I can remember where they actually have these split up portions that they did within the co-op that was really cool. Where essentially you had both players had to go down different sets of hallways, which you see in movies all the time. And essentially, if one of you died, you both died. You could not complete it, which was different than like saying playing the original Halo together, to where like if one dies, you just respawn as long as the other person lives, and that's basically how the whole game goes. Whereas this one, you actually technically had to work together in a sense of if your partner sucked, you could never beat the game. Or basically, you could just do it on hardest mode, where one of you dropped out and one of you beat it, while the co-op or the AI automatically beat it. So, and then the person jumped back in.
Cheater!
Which may or may not have happened sometime playing that extreme mode.
I will say, like, so I don't necessarily I mean, I guess it's the difference between it's still kind of drop in, drop out, but like there is, at least in the Gear series, and what I really like about it, and it's what I like in Army of Two later on, is that it is a true co-op game. Like, it's not made, it's really, I mean, you can play it by yourself, but you have to work with other people. You have to get through it with other people. And whereas a lot of the other games that, like, kind of that you mentioned, it's not necessarily a co-op game other than that you just play with somebody else, but it's not integral. Like, they're a generic person. They're not a completely different character who has their own motives and their own stuff, and then also has to do their own things within the mission, and you're tied to them in the sense that you have to work as a team. Right. And I think for me, that was one of the reasons that I really loved Gears, and it's one of the reasons why I'm really excited, especially after this E3, with the massive amounts of co-op games that got announced.
Yeah. Like I said, obviously Halo is probably the best version because Halo 3 comes out, and I remember it, and even World at War. But yeah, basically you said, essentially you're just four Master Chiefs with different colors.
Yeah, I mean, Halo 1 and Halo 2 had co-op, but like you were just two arbiters, or you were two whatever. And even in 3, when like one of you's like the arbiter and one of you's Master Chief, you're still not like, I don't know, you're not like completely different. I don't know. You just feel like you have more autonomy in Gears than you do in the co-op games, which I love co-op games in Halo, but I think Gears does it better, especially in making it harder. Yeah, because you can just run around like an idiot and just throw plasma grenades through stuff.
Yes, which obviously probably the best version would be, I think World at War gets released probably like 4 days afterwards, and I know they had a campaign that was co-op, which was fun. I loved it, but it was essentially you were just 4 random people. And then it's also cool because the cutscenes are what makes it weird or / good. Because in Gears you have cutscenes which your characters actually do something meaningful, whereas in these other games, either A, you have random people showing up and you just see your other characters sitting around while you have one generic thing, or basically everybody else disappears where they do the one generic cutscene. So that is probably the difference. So it was kind of like the unique version of, kind of like you said, a true co-op thing. Also, in Gears 2, they had the addition of Horde mode, which actually technically beats World at War, because I think this is the game, not the first one. My bad. That actually beats Call of Duty World at War, where they have zombie mode that comes into play. Yeah. I personally like Horde mode way more than I do like Call of Duty Zombies. I don't know how everybody else feels, but I will die on that hill.
I don't even consider them. I mean, it's essentially wave based combat, right? You fight through different waves, like that's all it is. But I think for me, I like Horde mode more because it takes more. Like, it takes more cooperation. Not that Call of Duty Zombies doesn't. Like, I love zombies. I also think it got completely absurd with the kind of stuff that they had going on, and I tapped out when they introduced the alien stuff. I think it was in Ghosts. But I just think it's different because when I played Call of Duty Zombies, I was like, oh yeah, we'll see how far we can make it. Let's get the ray gun. Let's do this. Whereas like Horde mode, when I played, especially with a full group, I was like, we're going to do this. Like, it was a different type of mindset because there were different elements that you had to do, which I like them both personally. I prefer the old zombies over whatever the hell we have now.
I was never a big zombie guy in Call of Duty. Like I played Call of Duty for multiplayer. If I wanted to go play like zombie stuff at this time period that we're talking about, I was playing Left 4 Dead like with people online, which I think is
Yes,
more fun than zombies. Or
Left 4
even, like,
Dead
the
comes
horde
out in, I
mode.
believe,
'Cause it has
2008.
Yeah, 2008. Because Horde mode and Left 4 Dead are semi similar, probably closer than zombies is for Call of Duty. But yeah, I'd rather play Horde mode than play zombies.
Have both of you, I'm assuming, have got to the level 50 and beat Horde mode, correct?
I got carried, but yeah.
I've been carried.
You are not making. You're talking about me trying to convince Adrian to play this game. You are not convincing me that I want to play this game with you.
Okay, there's a big difference now. There's a big difference now, sir. Back then, I could spend all my time playing video games. Now, I got an hour. We're gonna beat this in an hour, so I'm gonna try.
Yeah, play on easy. And then, is there a tank character in Gears 5? Can you
think
can Kate be a tank character?
Can you make Kate a sponge?
Obviously, I think in the later games they do add personal like abilities and everything else, and I know that's a big thing they're adding.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm talking about for the characters overall, because I know that's a big thing they're talked about in Gears 5, of like each character is now going to have like a play style versus like the old school of like you could pick up whoever character you were, it just happened to be whoever you, whatever happened.
To be fair, I will say when it comes to Horde mode, it is a lot easier to have weaker players in certain areas.
It is. You threw them on the side and you hope they didn't do anything.
You made sure I held down that one entrance point.
We told you just build the fence and keep building it, and please just don't move.
Don't expose me like this.
But I mean, overall for the gameplay, like none of it's really groundbreaking in mechanic gameplay. I mean, some of them Horde mode kind of cool, but I mean, I don't know if it, technically not really new. It just it just ended up being really good and better than a lot of the other stuff, and it was kind of unique in a lot of what happened, even like down to like the weapons, like the Lancer has basically become a staple, unique gun of the franchise. Where if you
I am still real salty that my cousin bought a custom-made pink Lancer, all bloodied up and everything. It is gorgeous, and I want it. And she got that, like, at Gears 3, I believe.
Yeah.
I want it so bad.
Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of good stuff. Like I said, it comes out in peak first person. It's funny because, like, when you look at it's good, and then, like, but it's not a first-person shooter, so it's something different. And it was a nice, different break from playing all the first-person shooters that come out during this time. And it's not the first co-op, but it's just better than the rest.
You talk about... Yeah. So one of the other things I really like about it, I just like, and this is from another franchise, but like I like the ripping and tearing aspect. It's also the same reason why I love Doom. Like it's bloody as all hell. The kills are great. Like it gets me the same way Doom gets me, only I co-op this one.
Yeah, so obviously in the later games they have a lot of fun with the chainsaw kills, because for those of you who don't know what a Lancer gun, basically it's like a machine gun with a giant chainsaw at the bottom.
How does it sound, Adrian?
Meow, 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 meow. And then let the horde people die.
Yeah, and then essentially you could run up and you could chainsaw people in various ways, and as the game got on, they kind of had fun with it, where you could definitely chainsaw people differently.
It's so good! It's so good!
It's definitely a very violent and a gory game. Also, by the way, I do believe this should also be classified as a military shooter, as you do collect dog tags, and dog tags are a big part of this game.
Oh my god! No.
Military shooter.
I'm sure we have fans or like listeners who play military shooters and stuff. Would you call this a military shooter, people? Please add us.
We will put a post up after this recording.
We should.
Send me your dog tag to prove that it's not.
Oh my god. You're so stupid.
I guess moving on to like another but why though is obviously the games are fun. We talk about all the gameplay and all the cool stuff in the co-op aspect, but like kind of the world building in general. So I'm kind of just gonna kind of like read the summary that leads up almost to like Gears 1, just to kind of get you to set the way of like that we all know all this is. Basically, it takes place on Sarah, as I mentioned, a fictional Earth-like planet, which essentially humans fight each other for basically a millennia, and basically almost to the brink of extinction. They finally realize, like, oh, we're about to extinct our entire species, so let's stop. So basically, the era of science and advancement happened until so they start prospering and doing all stuff, and they realize we've run out of resources. So they discover what is called emotion, and basically it's kind of like nuclear energy, but it's actually like a natural substance that they find that's deep in basically Sarah's like core and underground. And this causes basically over the years economic disparity as people who like countries and stuff that were close to like emotion they could access it became rich, and the ones that were not became poor. And this led to another 79-year war called the Pendulum Wars, which the coalition of ordered governments, or the COGs, versus the Union of Independent Republics, or the UIR, basically fight each other until the UIR basically invent the Hammer of Dawn. There's basically a satellite system that shoots massive lasers all the way to the ground, and it can basically name any place outside. And you actually get to use this in the game. It's very powerful. I don't know if that's how powerful it was when they did this in the Pendulum Wars, but they kind of been doing it. And after basically they use it, and they kind of blow up some stuff, and they saw exactly how powerful it was. Mainly, they kind of blew up their own ship on accident, because Marcus essentially like goes through and like leads a crew, and they steal the technology back, and so they all have Hammer-Dons now, and essentially they get it used against them too. That everybody's like, we kind of messed up. We made this technology that was way too advanced. It kills a lot of people, and is very hard to defend by, because essentially, you just step outside, and they basically just laser beam you.
So sci-fi in a nutshell.
Yeah. And so then they're like, we're going to come to peace. We're going to all peace. We've already killed half each other again. We're just going to be on peace. And then basically during this time, obviously, the underground locusts, who've basically been chilling all this time, basically emerge and start killing everybody and taking called emergence days. And essentially, basically, you then fight the locusts for all the thing. And to say this, basically, you start Gears 1 14 years after emergence day, with Marcus, who's basically in jail because he did an illegal mission trying to rescue his father, and it failed. And then his best friend Dom breaks him out. And obviously they mention all of this stuff throughout all these games, and you get all this lore. They've expanded all these books that we mentioned before. They take place either like during basically emergence days before you get this in Gears of War Judgment, where you get like Bard in his early days of emergence day. After emergent day, you get like the Pendulum Wars. I think some of the books are on that. You get like after it. Gears of War 4 takes place 25 years after the initial part of Gears 3, I believe, and that's how he has his son and all this stuff. And Marcus is technically retired. So you have all this, and then we have the comic stuff. So you have all this extra material. They've actually built out this universe, which is also weird why they decided they're going to try to do an alternate reality movie. But
because Hollywood.
Yeah.
The same reason why you have all of this lore for World of Warcraft, and they did this like thing where they just left stuff out and like changed things. Like, no, just do the thing.
It's also the exact same reason that Disney canceled the entire extended universe for Star Wars.
Like, just do the thing. It's already there. You don't have to do anything.
But no, they've built this entire universe, all of these wars, their entire history. Like, characters have your backstory. Like, I will say, if we talked about the co-op thing, when I talked about me and my brother playing thing, I was Dom for 3 games. I was sad when I died. I did not want to finish that game because I died. For 5 years, I was Dom. And then I died. I didn't want to finish the game. I was no longer existent. When Dom died, I died inside. But no, they have fleshed out things. We have backstories on all these characters. We have the stuff. They've written it all out. I don't know why we have alternate reality movie, but yes, like, they've built this out pretty well. Like, I knew kind of about all this somewhat, but I didn't realize, like, obviously it's been a while since I've read some of it, but it was, because obviously when I'm playing back 4, I knew a lot more and stuff coming out. And then when I went back to do these notes and I started reading, one, I forgot, like, oh yeah, I forgot, they run out of resources and they start killing each other, and this is what happened. Forgot how crazy that is. Basically, they fought over resources, and that's what that. No, it's just kind of amazing, like, how much actual lore and stuff has been built out for this entire franchise that I don't think a lot of people realize.
Yeah, and then they wanted to Alternate reality.
I'm real mad. I'm just getting real mad thinking about it.
Yeah. Like, it was, because like I said, when I did the stuff and I was like, oh, I don't like this thing. And then when I started, like, even reading down and, you know, remembering all the books and doing all the stuff, it's like, so why is this happening again? But I think they do a very good job of it. So whatnot. Do we want to talk about Gears 5 or do you want to get into this lawsuit real fast?
I think just mention that there's a lawsuit, and then we can just go to Gears 5.
Okay, so I guess the last kind of weird thing that's going on before we kind of get into like maybe some thoughts on Gears 5 and whatnot is technically there's a lawsuit that's going on against that people are suing Epic, Microsoft, and the voice actors. So apparently Linwood Hard Rock Hamilton, apparently he has a nickname. He's a former football player and pro wrestler. Is in January of 2017 decided he was going to sue Microsoft, Epic, and the voice actor of Augustus Cole or Coltrane. Lester Spite over basically claiming that his likeness and voices were stolen for Coltrane. They kind of, the background and stuff does kind of line up with this stuff. He claimed Lester approached him in 1998 about a video game. He said he claimed he turned it down because of violence the game that would be in the game. I don't really know because
I was like, dude, you were a football player.
Yeah, it's also one of those, like, it's still pending. They kind of getting thrown out, judgment. It's kind of one of those, when you look at the overall stuff between him and, like, Coltrane, it kind of makes sense, but it's also another one of those of, like, so what were you doing from 2006 to 2017?
Maybe he just got an Xbox, Matt. You don't know.
Man, he's living in Japan, and they didn't have any Xboxes for him to buy.
Well, apparently this is one game that made the top 10 chart, so you can't even say that about Japan. I get it, but I'm also like, you literally waited till this franchise became, like, made billions, and then you decided, oh, by the way, now I kind of want the profit from 2006 on, but you didn't bother for the first 11 years.
Maybe he hadn't watched E3 before then.
Oh my gosh. Whatever. Like, there's 5 games that come out before this, and 2 consoles. But yeah, apparently it's overall still pending. I don't know how people feel. I don't know what's going to happen. It's just awkward to me because of the timing and everything. It is what it is. I don't know.
I have no strong opinions.
I just remember this.
I
brought this up because, one, I do remember it happening in 2017, that it kind of came up and kind of just shot underneath the radar. So I do remember seeing it. And then, obviously, the fact that I actually thought it got resolved, but apparently it's still just, like, pending, and nobody, who knows what's going to happen 2+ years later, because I didn't think anything of it, because it was kind of like the same thing that I said was basically what Microsoft said. And they said since it was a sci-fi alien franchise, like, it's kind of like everything's fictional.
It just doesn't really look like him.
I don't know. They said it's an avatar. Like I said, they always claim it's an avatar that just kind of made in a sci-fi fictional universe on a fictional planet.
I mean, it's similar, I guess, but like Matt's a white guy, right? Like, how many characters in video games can we go find that look like Matt? Probably a lot. Is Matt gonna go sue those people? Probably not.
Did Steve Zahn do any of the mocap for them?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, he claims some of the lines,
Matt
some of
sues
his background history, because, you know, and his favorite number and other
have
stuff.
My face.
I don't know. I don't think it's going to go anywhere, to be honest. We'll see what happens. I guess moving on from
I want Matt to launch a campaign now against Steve Zahn, telling Steve Zahn that he's using his face.
No, I've got plenty of free drinks at bars from saying I'm Steve Zahn. I'm good with it. We're equal.
How do you steal somebody's voice?
That was my confusing thing. Like, I didn't get that either. I'm like, you're suing a voice actor.
Who, given, like, my limited experience with voice actors over, like, the last year, like, sometimes they just get told to do voices, and they're like, yeah, stick with that voice, and then they do that voice. It's not the voice actor's fault.
I don't know. Apparently Lester approached him, 8 years before the game was ever made.
And he recorded his voice right there.
It took a long time to develop, but
do it like this. Do it like this guy's voice is what they did in the booth.
That happens, doesn't it? I don't know. I'm one of those, like, I can kind of get and try to, but I'm also like, why didn't you do this in 2006 if it was that big of a deal? You literally waited.
Because he didn't have an Xbox, Matt. He just became a gamer.
An Xbox 360? Did he get an Xbox One finally, or did he finally
Yeah,
get a PC?
no, he got an Xbox One. And you know what? He finally got on Game Pass. That's what happened.
You got Game Pass. He's like, what?
They sold the
Yeah,
entire
It's Ultimate
franchise.
Edition.
The entire franchise was sold in this period to some other company. But no. I guess moving on. So obviously, Gears of War 5 just kind of came out this past week. Did we have any thoughts? Obviously, this was recorded before it came out. So do we have any kind of thoughts on? Does it come or coming out this week or past week? I don't remember. Weird because Game Pass you get it like a few days depending on when it's released, and then Game Pass you get it like 5 days early or something. So I may release in a day or so. I don't remember. Whatever. Do we have any thoughts on Gears 5 in general? Is anybody getting it? I guess technically you have to pay $1 for the Game Pass.
Yeah, I'm just excited for it. I'm just really happy that we're getting one, more Gears, and two, I just really felt watching E3 that there was this renewed focus and this renewed energy around good co-op play, which is something I've missed. Obviously we play all our games together, so that helps. But I don't know, and I just really love the Gears the Gears world. I really love it. It's bloody, it's dark, and I'm interested. And I really do think all the cinematic trailers they've done with Kate has made it really interesting. Specifically the one with was it Billie Eilish or whatever, that song in the background?
Yes,
when her face is morphing into the different characters of Gears and then the Locust Queen. Like I'm in. I'm in. I like the lore of Gears. I like the of Gears. I like.
By the way,
that.
we are laughing at that, but anybody that's ever played this game knows you ran around and revved that chainsaw when you were bored.
Yes, that's all you do. Yeah, no. I mean, if I were to write a 10 iconic chainsaws in video games, the Lancer would be number one. Well, yeah, Lancer would be number one with Doomslayers as two.
Yeah. Adrian, are you planning to get this or play this at all or care?
I don't remember if I kept my like Game Pass thing up to date after the thing that they gave it for like $1. So I'm gonna go check after this, and if I can play it for not $60, I would definitely play it for not $60. Even though I haven't played 4, but do I need to play 4? I'm probably just gonna look at a YouTube video. Like, what is the story of Gears 4, and then probably be fine, right? I don't know.
I think it'll be fine.
You'll be fine. Just play easy
But
mode on Gears 4. You'll be fine.
I don't play easy mode. What's wrong with you? What do I look like?
Like Kate's like shotgun OP.
Like
I'm like, you clearly did not play that hard mode. That shotgun didn't mean
what do I
shit.
look like? A fake gamer, bro? Kidding. Obviously, absolutely kidding. You play games, whatever game mode you want. But no, I'm gonna go check if I have it. I'll install it right now, and I'll let you know how it goes, and I'll run around as Kate.
Nice. I'm excited, but I'm kind of torn, and I feel weird. Because one, I've seen it, and it looks really good. It does look, and I'm intrigued by the story, and it looks cool. But when I think of Gears, kind of like we mentioned, I think of Marcus Phoenix. And Marcus Phoenix, from what we've seen, which hopefully it may change, we don't know yet, is technically not. He's in the game, but not in the game, from what we know. And it kind of bugs me because I played, obviously, I'm not saying some of the Halo games are bad. I play Halo to play with Master Chief. I played Gears, obviously, to play with Dom and Marcus Phoenix. Obviously, I died.
I played Gears, plays Dom.
But I died.
Marcus Phoenix isn't in this one, but I miss playing as Dom.
Had 3 full games, man. Like 5 years of my life, I was Dom. Me and my brother set this up every time.
And insert Matt being R. Kelly, the R. Kelly meme. That's what's happening right now.
I'm not gonna lie, like it was one of those like no matter what, like I felt weird, like I always wanted to be second player just so I could play with Dom because that's just how I played. And even same, I will say it was interesting because we didn't really mention with the co-op play. Like it was one of the few games where it seemed like the game got harder if you played by yourself versus playing with 2 people.
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
the AI was terrible, which they obviously improved in Gears 3, but it was still terrible.
I also think too, like in all honesty, these are games you can play by yourself. But I think of it in the same way as like Wolfenstein Youngblood or even Army of Two. They are designed for the best experience to be played communally and to be played co-op wise. And if that game style's not for you, it's not for you. But like,
Or if you don't have friends,
yeah,
then,
yeah. That sounded very sad, Adrian.
You can get on Xbox Live.
Well, I don't have anybody to play co-op with.
You can come play with us.
Well, I do know in Gears, I don't know if they will be doing it for this year or for this one. I haven't actually checked exactly, but I do know they added 4-player co-op, and I believe it was Gears, is it 4, I believe, or?
I think it was 3.
Or 3. Yeah, so they added the
Gears 3 was
4-player
co-op.
Yeah, which they did obviously to include all the characters, but they did it explicitly so you could play 4 players.
Yeah.
Oh, update. I do have Ultimate still. Apparently, I've been paying $15 a month, and I didn't realize 'cause I put it on like a card I never use. But yeah, they get it on September 5th at 8 p.m.
Also,
and I can pre-install it.
We haven't streamed at all,
Yeah,
so we could like stream together.
Yeah, I will play this.
And you can hear Adrian and Matt yell at me.
We can hear Matt yell and me be muted, being like, "What?" I don't think I've ever like yelled at Kate in like anything. I just silently heal.
No. I remember Neverwinter and you healing. I do remember hearing the start of a yell and then a mute.
This dumbass rogue just sitting in the damn red.
Because Kate would literally just roll into rooms. I'm like, dude.
This is why I don't play Rogue anymore.
This is why you're not allowed to play
She became a tank, and it was a little bit easier.
Yeah, this is why you've been fired from DPS.
She would just roll into the room.
See that giant red spot? I think that's where I go.
You say that, Matt,
Double
but
roll.
every freaking time I have played with you as a freaking archer, you pull everything.
Yeah, but that's my job.
I'm gonna go open it.
The box is
yes. Matt, that's also terrible. Like, go talk to any person who's played World of Warcraft. Hunters are the worst.
I know. You know why? Because that's what we do.
No, that's not. That's not how that works.
We're renowned for that. You rolling in red is just, what are you doing?
Anyway.
Oh,
but no,
crying.
I am kind
literally crying for these memories. Please, can we play Gears 5 together? Please.
But no, I am excited, but I am worried just because I am a person of like, if we moved past him, I guess it wouldn't be so bad. But the fact that I'm like, you're still here. You are the face of this franchise. Why can't I play with you? And so that kind of
old. Because he's old.
He's a daddy. I think because I think we talked about it earlier. We were saying like when they just left Master Chief floating in space, you were totally okay with playing a new character because they floated him.
Well, we pretty much knew they left it open because you knew 10 years later they're going to bring him back, but you knew he was at least dead or quote unquote dead. Like Dom. I'm not going to get to play with Dom. Dom's dead. We know this, so I'm okay with that. Marcus is still standing right there. I should be able to play with you.
No, and I think that's really valid because like kind of. When I think about it, I'm just like, oh yeah, if they just made a new Tomb Raider game and we're like, you're gonna play Lauren Croft, this estranged Croft sister in this Tomb Raider offshoot, I'm not gonna want to buy that. You're not Lara Croft. No.
Would play as Noah though.
Yeah, I would.
But he's like your Dom. He's your Dom.
Yeah, dude. I would play so much more so much more Tomb Raider if I could play as co-op, but me as Noah.
That
10
would be
out of
fair.
10.
See, but that's the thing though. Like, if you made it a co-op game where it could be Laura and him, that's good. But if you like made it where you could only play him, I think it's a little weird.
Yeah, but it becomes.
It's not Tomb Raider anymore. But, like, I get it. But I think, too, and I think that that's something that people missed. I do think that that's one of the reasons. I mean, Judgment has issues beyond that. But I do think that that was one of the reasons why Judgment had a fairly lukewarm reception was because you weren't Marcus.
You were just Baird. You basically, it was a spin-off doing Baird's history, which Baird was fine. But I'm not going to lie, Baird was the worst character out of the 4. I hated Baird. I hated him so much. I was like, can we punch your own teammate?
But I'm just really excited. I like what we've gotten from it so far. I'm excited. I'm genuinely excited. It looks really intriguing. I'm excited that I get both Gears and Doom Eternal in the same year. Like, that's just so much blood and shooting and I'm just very excited. But that, and I think Kate looks really cool. I think her backstory is shaping out to be really cool. But I do understand the, like, Dom's right there. Or not Dom.
Dom dead. Do not do that. Don't tease me like that.
Marcus is right there.
So, like, why couldn't they I mean, I don't mind, like, because it does seem intriguing, like, what they're doing with Kate, because obviously I haven't played it, but I know the whole story, because that's how things work. You just get bored and you read it, because some of us still won't buy books, but we'll read the other stuff online. But
circling it all the way back around to Adrian's Guinness Book of World Records comment.
But no, like, because it does seem intriguing with the whole thing, and like the visuals are cool of, like, because her mom from the last game and stuff. But it's like, can we just get like Kate and Marcus? We'll just do that. But like, apparently, I don't. From what, like I said, for all I know, we don't. I'm not sure. I know, like I said, I believe in 4 you start off with just his son and some other people, and then you end up with Marcus later. I'm not sure exactly how much you get to play with him. Say, I know he's involved, but it is one of those. And that's probably another reason why I'm kind of turned off by 4, even when it came out, even though I was super busy. But it's just one of those, like, I just want to play. Especially when it comes to, like, the face of these franchises, and they basically purposely make these people the face of their franchise, and that's how they've done. I want the face of the franchise in it, and it's been weird because, like, I think they've done a great job with all this lore and background and doing stuff, and eventually, they probably will move on from Marcus, and I get it. But so long as when you pull up Gears, you see Marcus, it's kind of like, if he's there, let's play with him. So, I don't know. It looks fun. Looks intriguing. All this episode has done is convince me that I'm worried to play now.
Shut up. Shut up. So I'm looking it up, and when you get the list of characters, the first ones listed are Kate, JD, Marcus, and Damon. And Dell. Those are the main ones, and then Victor, Mira, the Locust Queen, and Anya. Those are everything we know about them. And when it's essentially it's in limbo. Nobody has told us we can't play with him, but nobody has told us that we will play with him.
Well, I know, that's why I said I'm kind of just like torn of like, are we getting him? Because I don't want to be like, this is stupid, and then we get to like play with him. But I'm also like, I know he's there. I've seen him there.
Just kidding. Hopefully not.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm kind of excited for the new Halo that's coming out, because I'm like, they found him in space. I'm down for this.
He's not floating no more.
He's not floating anymore.
I am excited that they're bringing Anya in this game too.
So I was looking at the thing. I'm like waiting for this thing to kind of install capabilities, and I really haven't like looked into too much of the game and since E3, but it says Xbox Live local co-op 2 to 3 players, experience the 3-player co-op campaign.
Oh, that's interesting.
Xbox Live cross-platform multiplayer, what I assume is like multiplayer. And then you have Xbox Live cross-platform co-op. So does that mean you could only do 2 players cross-platform?
No idea, to be honest.
That doesn't seem right. Send me the thing that
Interesting.
So this is all co-op, correct, and not multiplayer. I know we never talked about it in technically thing, but they do have multiplayer. It's been a thing.
Yeah. Which people don't know, because they just use the words interchangeably. Multiplayer is different than a co-op game.
Correct.
Yeah.
Like I said, they did do like battle multiplayer. We had 5-on-5. I think it started with 4-on-4s and then went to 5-on-5s at the later games, and then they started having game modes.
They're doing the Hive thing this time, right?
Correct. That's part of the game. Is it? That's correct, right?
No, it's.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I wasn't sure if it was like a mode in the game or if it was something like an exclusive like download or like almost like a DLC type. You bought it.
Hive Busters, yeah, it's a mode.
Okay. So that might be your 3 one then, because I believe that might be the only time you can play in 3.
That's the 3 people, yeah.
Yeah. Which also is another one of those stupid...
base game, you'll have Hive Busters, and then I'm assuming...
But how many is Horde, though? Would Horde not be 4?
It should be 4 for base game.
Well, I don't know about base campaign, but I'm talking about, like, Horde mode.
Horde should be 4.
Right. I don't know. I didn't really care to look at those modes because I don't care to play. I mean, Horde mode's fun, but like I only play after you beat it like 2 or 3 times. Like, who cares?
So multiplayer, straight multiplayer is cross-platform, which is real cool.
Yeah, that I did know. But that's cross-platform as in like PC to
Adrian, it looks like this is just all the different ways you can play.
Yeah, because I was wondering, because I was like, what?
And
I
I
mean, I
think
like my
that
Xbox, but I'm just
I think
I
the
like my
reason
computer more.
I think the reason they put 2 to 3 is because they use that to define what all the other co-ops will be after it.
Yeah.
You know, like you put it
Okay.
once and you don't have to put it again.
Yeah.
We got the perfect number.
Yeah,
Do
and we can
we?
play cross-platform, so people can play on Xbox if they want to play on Xbox.
I'm gonna be
Well,
playing
yeah.
on
I
Xbox.
don't play an Xbox. I don't give a shit about a damn PC.
I like sitting at my desk. And...
I like sitting on my couch.
I just like my controller.
I mean, that doesn't bother me because
Well,
I played my
you
controller
know-
on both my PC and my Xbox. So
Oh, I guess this is the bigger connection. Are they connected? Like, can I play the same thing if I go to my couch, or am I stuck playing PC forever?
Oh, cross save?
that I don't know.
Does it have
That's
cross save?
that's one of those Xbox games for Xbox that you have to figure out. I have no idea.
Yeah, I've got to figure that out.
Ah. I mean, it could also be, is it a play anywhere title though?
Yeah, to play anywhere would be the one
So
where
then
you
you
can do
can
both.
technically just buy it on your Xbox and play it at your computer.
Yeah, so the play anywhere is you can do either or. I don't know if the
I
cross
did
saves.
State of Decay 2. The game sucked, but
Does it say play anywhere?
I mean,
Yes, it's
I don't-
Xbox Play Anywhere, so that means that technically you can buy it on one platform but play it on either. Now I don't know if you can cross save it, but you can
you
play
should
it.
be able to.
Yeah, I know I can play them on both.
You should be able to then.
Yeah, I just didn't know if it's a cross saving. I don't know. I'll look into it.
Okay. So any final thoughts for Gears before we get out of here?
I'm just really excited. I'm really excited. And Kate Diaz looks so cool. And if I ever had time to cosplay anything, I can cosplay her.
That's not gonna
But
happen.
no, it's not.
Well, I have another month of Xbox Ultimate, so I guess this is the perfect time to play Gears 5. And if it's cross-platform and stuff, I think it opens people up to be able to play co-op and do all that stuff. There's an epic 5-player horde session or something that I'm reading here, so it seems like it's going to be fun.
Sweet.
And
Oh my god. I'm interested to get back into it, see what happens. I love the first 3 games. I'm still sad that I'm dead, but it is what it is. But no, like playing the co-op stuff has been fun, and it's where I always remembered. Obviously, except the later games are what they are. I'm gonna see if I can get myself back into it. It seems intriguing, but I know why they matter and like why they've been around for this long. It's been crazy. So get us out of here, Kate. That's a Murloc, sir.
Okay. As always, if you want to support the show a little bit more, head on over to our Patreon at patreon.com/butwhythopc. You get access to episodes early, ad-free, our research notes, and you can even do at the $3 level, you get exclusive episodes of our movie reviews. So yeah, come support us. It helps. And you can find me on Twitter at OhMyMythReindeer. Adrian?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at SuperRuiz93, SuperRuiz 93.
Matt?
I'm gonna go visit my grave because I'm so sad that my wife died and I couldn't save her.